everyone, this is a tutorial for the ceramic resin coasters. Thank you everybody who purchased kits. I'm going to kind of speed teach this so that you don't have to sit here and listen to me for an hour, but typically this should take you about an hour, give or take. Like I said, I'm going to kind of speed teach it so that you can kind of get on your way with doing the activity. So what you have in your kit is 5 ceramic tiles and 5 cork backers. They're basically just stickers that you'll stick on once your coasters have cured. You have 4 or 5 mica powders. This is what colors your resin. And you have, some of you have glitter, some of you opted out, but I've already poured my glitter in there. So in the little Dixie cups, you empty all of your mica powders into each individual cup. So I've gone ahead and poured my mica, emptied it right into the Dixie cup. As you can see, it's in the bottom there. So all of my Dixie cups are all emptied, are all full of my mica powders. It covers about the base of that little cup. I have all of my mica powders ready to go. Important thing is you want everything prepped before you mix that hardener with the resin, because once it starts to cure, you only have a handful of time before it starts to thicken, and then it doesn't move as well for you across the coasters. So I'm going to go through 2 or 3 different techniques. You can pour it any way that you want. You could just experiment and have fun with it. I'm going to show you kind of a clean pour. I'm going to show you how to do more of a marbleized, and then I'm going to show you a blow technique, or it's called a bloom blow technique. So the first, sorry, I didn't. So the first thing that we want to do is take our, well, set up your station. I recommend just using like a garbage bag or something like that. You just need a station that's large enough for you to work on, that you can leave. I recommend working on a surface that's kind of tucked away, because you will need these coasters to sit and cure. It takes about 1 day. So a surface that's not in a high traffic area where somebody might run into it or an animal might get a little curious, okay? So you have your hardener and you have your resin. Without them touching or combining, they will not harden and they will not cure. Combining them causes a chemical reaction and they start to harden. This is your provided cup. If you lose it, you can use any type of plastic cup. But what we're going to do is we are going to take the hardener top off and the resin top off, and we're going to pour them into that clean, empty plastic cup at the same time. The reason I like to pour them into the cup at the same time is I feel like it causes some mixing as you're pouring it in. It also you also avoid, like all the resin pooling in the bottom, or all the hardener pooling in the bottom, and then getting stuck or risking the hardener and the resin not completely mixing. Because if they do not completely mix, you may have tacky areas where it doesn't cure. So then you stir for about 3 minutes. Very important to scrape the edge. Very important not to whip the resin, okay? If we whip the resin, we'll cause bubbles to form, and we can also cause the chemical reaction to speed up, and we do not want that because we want it to be in the liquid form as long as possible. So I'm not going to stir for 3 minutes. I'm kind of speed stirring. But It's a 3 minutes, give or take, but the most important thing is as you mix, you want to look and see if there's any striations. So you'll see the striations of the resin and the hardener as they combine. But once it's 100% combined, you won't see any striations in the cup. And you can kind of look, it's hard to see, I don't have the best shot, but you can look at the side of the cup and see if it's fully mixed. Okay, so once I have it fully mixed, I'm going to take all of my cups and I'm going to put equal amounts of the mixed resin into the cups. I always say start out smaller with your portions and then come back and add more. That way you don't get to like your fourth or your fifth cup and then you don't have, enough resin for that color. So start smaller. It does not need to be exact. It's not an exact science. Something to keep in mind though is you do only have a set amount of time for this. So, really take into consideration, do you like all your colors together once you kind of see them? Do you want to omit them? You're totally fine to mix the powder before. So say you got a white and you got a black and you want to make a little bit of a gray. You can go ahead and do that. That's totally fine. You can mix it just like you would mix two different colors of paint. So I'm just taking clean popsicle sticks. I'm just mixing it just enough so that it's mixed. Super important here. If you mix it and you whip this, you will cause a chemical reaction and it'll start to harden and it'll start to get really, really hot. I am not a scientist and I cannot tell you why that happens, but it does. So you want to be really careful with the amount of times that you're stirring this. You'll see after you stir it, the powder will kind of rise to the top. So stir it, let it set, go to the next color. And then if you have some, powder that's floating to the top, just give it a couple more stirs. But you see I'm scraping the edge and I'm scraping the bottom to make sure it's dispersed 100% into that. And then I'm coming back here, I'm just going to stir those bubbles and that powder, powder that floated to the surface. I'm going to go ahead and give it another stir. Okay, now I'm ready. I have all of my colored resins ready to go. I'm going to take you don't have to do this, I like to do this. It just kind of allows the resin to sit up on the cup and kind of, I just prefer to do this. You can let it set. The only thing is that the resin will roll off the side, so I like to prop it up on a plastic cup so that it can do that. The first thing that you do want to do, pour a small amount, whatever color you want. You can use a popsicle stick to spread it. If you're like me, I kind of move quickly. I like to kind of use my glove. That way you can put the color on the side like this. And again, I'm moving super quick. I do not expect you to work this quick. I want to make sure the whole thing gets covered because I'm still experimenting with my tutorials, and I'm trying to do YouTube, but I'm not sure how well it's gonna go. Okay, so I have my resin across the tile. This helps your resin that you pour flow across your tile a little bit better. So the first one that I'm gonna do, I'm just going to go ahead and do kind of like a spiral. I like to pinch this to give it to give you a little bit of a spout, and then I'm just going to spiral it. And you don't feel like you need to use every color on every coaster. You can use different color, omit different colors, whatever you want to do. So like I said, you you know, you can have fun with this and kind of play around with it. Um, you could keep it like that and it would look really cool. With this one, I like to kind of do the starburst one with the toothpick. I'm just going to go from the center and just go around and around and just keep pulling. No need to clean it off in between. Keep in mind, if your table is not 100% level, which most likely it is not, um, it's going to, the resin's going to roll, and it's going to roll towards the lowest part of the table. So you'll notice if it's distinctly rolling just one particular way, but if it is, you can just take, you know, a popsicle stick and prop it up underneath like that, or you can just let it roll off and kind of do its thing and be artsy. So that's the first one. I think that's a really fun one. It kind of looks like a spider web or a starburst. So I'm just going to set that to the side. The second one is going to be the bloom pour. Your base color is just going to be a matter of preference, okay? Like I said, have fun with it. Just kind of experiment. I don't always use the same base color when I'm doing coaster kits. I kind of, you know, some I'll use white, some I'll use black. You know, just kind of have fun with it. Don't, you know, there's really no rhyme or reason to it. We're not putting silicone or anything in this like a dirty pour or like an acrylic pour. So what I'm going to do, once I have it coated, just going to pour a few little piles on top of each other. Okay. Then I'm going to take my straw and blow out, so little directions out here, 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 and here. And I think the reason it's called the bloom pour is you kind of create a flower. So I'm just going to blow. And each blow, I'm moving the resin. Okay, so now I have what looks like kind of like a flower. So again, you could leave it like that. I like to manipulate it and kind of let it move around the tile, but you can keep rolling it around. If you want, you can go back and blow it around some more to move it along the tile. Try not to get resin on your straw because then it'll end up on your lips, and then resin doesn't taste that great. But you'll be okay. Okay, so I can manipulate it more. The resin's going to keep rolling. You'll notice that it's going to slow down. The rolling's going to slow down a little bit, but that's an example of the bloom pour. The next one I'm going to show you is the clean pour. And then, you know, don't feel like you need to do the same technique on all of them. I think it's kind of fun when you use, you know, all the same, you know, all similar colors in a set. But I think it's kind of fun to have, you know, different ones, different techniques used on different coasters. Don't worry about, you know, getting a little bit underneath. You're going to put that cork backer on once it cures. I'm not going to show you that step, but once these cure, you're going to let them cure overnight. They should all be hardened after a day. Then you can just go ahead and take the sticker off the backing and just place it right on the back of your coaster. Okay. So with the clean pour, similar to the bloom, but I'm just going to put a bunch of just little piles of paint. You don't have to necessarily stack all the same order. I just kind of ended up doing that. But so then I'm just going to go through, disturb it a little bit. It doesn't need to be perfect because you're going to roll it across the tile. But I'm just going to disturb it a little bit with that toothpick, or you could use your popsicle stick. So once you do that, definitely make sure you disturb it. And then you're just going to let it roll. And once it hits one side, then you're going to turn it again and tip it. And you'll see. It's definitely moving. It starts to move a little bit slower. You'll notice every coaster it's going to move a little bit slower. And you can use the straw for this also if you want to move it, or if you're impatient like me, I'll go and kind of like encourage it to do, you know, cover certain areas. Resin is self-leveling. So like how I just did that little indentation there, I don't know if you can see, obviously it's a little indented. As long as it's liquid, you know, still in its liquid form, it'll self-level. So don't worry too much about, you know, disturbing it and messing with it, because it will self-level. Okay. I'm just going to speed up the process for you, but you can just let it flow across. If there is a portion, you know, that you don't like, you can always, you know, go back and add a little bit more resin, like that, just pour whatever color you want to add in there. One last thing is, with the glitter, I recommend adding the glitter towards the end. Let your coasters set for a little bit. I'm not going to let them set. I just want to show you. The glitter, the reason I like it to set a little bit, and when I say a little bit, you can wait probably like an hour, not an hour, you can probably wait, you know, get all your coasters done, and then they will slow down with the rolling off. And then the reason I like to do that is you kind of know where to position your glitter. Another reason is the glitter can kind of take over. Okay, so it's the viscosity seems to be a little bit more liquid than just the mica and the resin alone. So I also like to kind of place it throughout the coaster so it's not as excuse me, you know, it doesn't take over too much. So just place those off to the side. Okay, so I have this one, and I'm just going to kind of position it towards the outside corners. Make it super glitzy. So, of course, I just did 3, but you can do any techniques you want. You know, you can look on YouTube at various pour techniques. But if you have any questions, I'll keep playing and playing until I just need to stop. But if you have any questions, send me a text. If you have any questions, watch the tutorial first. And then if you have questions after the tutorial, then please text me 804-424-1342. And then I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. But watch the tutorial first. And then if you have any questions, then text me. Don't text me mid project, because if I don't get back to you soon enough, your resin's going to cure. And so just, if you think of anything, send me a text. I try to get to my texts as soon as I can. I am pretty busy these days, being a teacher, and a mom and all sorts of things. So, but I want to be here to support you. I really appreciate you all supporting me and buying these kits. It's helping me keep in business, stay in business while I'm not able to hold workshops. So, I really appreciate everybody buying kits. And I'm going to continue to launch them, and provide these tutorials for you. So, have a great day, have a great weekend, have fun with this. Go to my Facebook page, share your artwork, your results with me. I love to see it. And take care, everybody. Be well.